Hey guys, Andy from Estella's Revenge, and I promised a while back that I was going to do a series of videos called Who, What, Where, When, Why, and How. And so I'm here with the second video. The first one was Who, so this one is What. So if you've been around this channel for a while, you know that what I read is typically kind of an adult contemporary literary fiction selection. I've also been into classics a lot this year. But I do read pretty broadly. I mean, I throw YA into the mix when I'm in the mood for it. I read from just about every genre. Nothing is really off limits if I'm in the mood for it. And so, yeah, that's kind of a general overview of my reading. But what I have found in the last several years is that as I'm going through and just reading by mood in a year, because I do try to let my moods lead me in what I choose to read, by the time I get to the end of the year, I have usually seen some sort of trend or theme in my reading for the year. So back in 2010, I believe it was 2009 or 10, I got to the end of the year and I had a really big surprise. I had only read one or two adult contemporary novels that year. The majority that year was nonfiction or YA. And so that was a little bit unusual for me. So I started paying more attention to the trends in my reading in a given year, and I've seen some things come and go. In the following year, in 2011, I actually discovered the Tournament of Books, which is hosted by Field Notes, and I'll put the link down below. But it is an event in March in the U.S. when we would normally be following March Madness, which is a basketball tournament that I care absolutely nothing about. I followed the Tournament of Books instead. And so they take a wide variety of literary fiction, from some that is very mainstream to more kind of new or unknown authors, and they pair them up and they let judges decide what will move forward in the brackets until they get down to one winner. And the Tournament of Books has actually been very good at forecasting what will win the Pulitzer Prize. So I think that's really interesting. So when I discovered the Tournament of Books, I actually vowed to read literary fiction for the majority of the year. I wanted to read all of the books off the Tournament of Books list. I didn't quite make it, but I read a lot of literary fiction that year. And my number one goal in doing that was to decide what literary fiction is. That's a tag or a label that can turn people off because they feel like it really degrades or devalues other literatures, other genres. And so actually what I discovered in reading literary fiction was that it's typically very well critically received, and it's usually marketed as literary, whatever that means. A lot of literary fiction has a genre bent, whether it's sci-fi or fantasy, whether it's a magical realism element, whether it's historical fiction, whatever, romance, Western. All of those things are represented within literary fiction. So I think it's more of a marketing tool than anything. So after my year of literary fiction last year, in 2012, I had a year of kind of genre fiction. I branched down into some genres that I don't normally read a lot. I did some westerns. I did some traditional romances. I read the Outlander series, or at least the first 4 books in it, that I really enjoyed. And those have a time travel element. So that really took me out of my comfort zone, and it was a great place to be because I found so many more books and so many more possibilities. Even I read The Last Werewolf by Glenn Duncan. So I really felt like I was indulging. I was really going with my moods, but it naturally became a year of more straightforward genre. And then this year, I'm not sure where I am. I know I've probably read more nonfiction and more classics than I normally do, but it's been a pretty good mix this year of different kinds of adult contemporary fiction, whether it's historical, whether it's a sci-fi element, whether, I'm throwing some YA into the mix. It just seems like a pretty balanced year, but we'll see when we get to the end. Going into 2014, I'm actually going to set an agenda for myself, which I really don't always do. I haven't done that since that year of literary fiction. So I have a plan to read more diverse literatures in 2014. So I want to read more diverse literatures, whether it's ethnic literature, whether it's international, whether it's people of color, whether I'm reading books by African American authors, where I'm reading books by African authors, reading books by Japanese authors, whether I'm reading French books in translation. I just really want to be more cognizant of reading outside of just American and British authors, because I think it's very easy to get into that, but I want to see and learn and experience more from my literature. So, off the top of my head, and I wish I had something to show you, I would really like to read We Need New Names, by, I have a hard time with her name, NoViolet Bulawayo. She graduated from the same English department that I did, and it's a very small, kind of unknown school. It's within a larger system of schools here in Texas. But she came from the same place I did, and so I think that's very, very exciting, and she's been shortlisted for the Booker Prize. So I definitely want to check that out. I also recently ordered a copy of the Makioka Sisters by Junichiro Tanizaki, and it was published in Britain, but it's by a Japanese author writing about Japan. I'll be reading Kindred with Dee Dee, which is by Octavia Butler, who's one of the few women of color African-American woman writing sci-fi. Doesn't happen a whole lot. And so I'm already trying to be more mindful that I read more broadly and more diverse literatures. So yeah, just something I have in mind for 2014. So in short, actually not short anymore, about 6 minutes, that is what I read, a little perspective on what I read and why, and how my reading shapes up from year to year, and what I hope to accomplish in the coming year. So the next video, who, what, will be when I read. So probably, I haven't decided exactly what that video will be yet, probably a little bit about my daily life and schedules and how I cram in reading with all the other things that I have going on. So I know we all have that problem, so hopefully you can relate, and I would love to know a little bit more about what you read and why in the comments. So I'll see you soon. Bye.